Welcome back to EWC Central, the broadcast that covers every single game, as well as interviewing very special guests throughout the entirety of the Esports World Cup. My name is Quickshot, and I'm still your host, and will be for the entirety of the event. Just before I introduce a guest who is very special to my heart, somebody that I've been a fan of and I've been watching for over a decade, actually nearly 2 decades to be quite honest, I'll give you some of the accolades. These are the things that I personally have watched and enjoyed. He's one of the 5 gods of Smash Melee, 2-time EVO champion, 2-time Smash Summit champion, champion at Genesis, DreamHack, MLG, and those are the tournaments that I watched. I simply do not have enough time to list through the rest of the accolades. It is my pleasure to introduce Mang0 to the EWC broadcast and team. Just before I tell you a little bit, I'll ask you a couple of very selfish questions about Melee. Could you tell our viewers anything that maybe I've missed? Is there anything else you'd like to add on from me just gassing you up?
I think you got about all of it. Like you said, I could sit here and name 30 more tournaments and stuff, but I think those are like the mainstream ones.
They're the big ones. They're the big ones.
They'll kind of get the idea from that.
They do get the idea. And of course, in case you're unfamiliar, Mang0 is, of course, a Smash player, amongst content creator, co-owner, and represents Cloud9. The reason that I specifically mentioned them, I just want to share a very personal, vivid memory. I hold you accountable for pre-2010 Jigglypuff mains. And I distinctly remember, there are comments on my Reddit account, yelling with other people who called you fake, the fact that Mewtwo King in EVO 2007, he choked, there's no ways you were good, you were never going to be a big deal. I was one of those toxic rages that was like, this guy's great. But it was very bittersweet because I hated that you played Jigglypuff, and I was so happy when you changed. I'm a big fan, and it's a pleasure to have you here. I want to talk about Melee, talk about Smash. What's your opinion on the scene and how things are going? I know it's been a tumultuous 5 to 10 years.
I think Melee is like in a pretty good spot. We're not like, I think we've always been a very grassroots community. We're very small, you know, we don't get the sponsor, the dev support that, you know, I see everyone here getting, which is like really cool to see. And I think we're not doing as good as we were a few years ago, but we're still doing great. And I think the fact that our game is almost 25 years old is still kicking. We still get, you know, 20, 30, 40K views when we have a big tournament, and like we still get a few hundred entrants. Our big tournaments can still break like 1,000 entrants. I still think we're doing great. Yeah. People like to dwell because things aren't as great, but I'm like, you remember back in like 2007, 2008.
Oh yes, it was very different.
I used to play, you know, in garages for like, there's 25 people there, and I would make $80. So those were the dark days.
Because like EVO just finished, right? And later on in EWC, we've got Tekken, we've got Street Fighter. Obviously, the FGC and let's say the big stadium events, let's say the big finals and EVO tournament, even the final games of the final weeks of EWC is fighting game community. As somebody who's been around and seen the blow up and is here and sees where it's going, is this something that excites you? Is this something that like it opens new avenues? Because I know the fighting game community has always been quite grassroots, and I don't want to say hesitant, but like a little bit resistant to change. But it's really felt like it's glowing up in recent years.
Yeah, so like FGC, like in Melee, like we've always kind of separated ourselves. Yeah. And you know, like I said, you know, we have problems with Nintendo, so like we can never like be as big as we want to. But it's really cool to see the FGC here because they're like, whether they like us or not, like I'm still happy to see a grassroots community make it this far, and like, you know, Street Fighter's here. I think that's really cool, and Tekken, you know, I think that's awesome. Like
I'll tell you this as well, by the way, in terms of, let's say, challenges with developers. Trust me, every Dota and Counter-Strike player, they've got their own horror stories to talk about. It's something that's great, but it's also something that I think EWC can play a hand in. What are you doing in EWC? How are you out? Like, what are you doing while you're in and about town?
Cloud9 told me I have to come. I was like, I'm there. And they got me, you know, we did meet and greets. I've been doing little video stuff. We've been working a booth, you know, just some average stuff. Because I'm not here as a player. Yes. Which is weird for me. Because if I'm here, I'm like serious. I'm gaming. Yeah, but listen, co-owner Cloud9, that's a pretty big title. So you're here representing the rest of the org. Send Jack my regards as well. Have you got a chance to actually play any like Street Fighter or Tekken or Counter-Strike even? I haven't played a single game while I've been here.
That's shocking.
I know.
I'm looking at the managers. We need to get him to play some games here. We need to get him to play some games. I'm looking at the guys. Okay, what's next for Mang0? What's coming up in the next few days? days, the next few weeks? When's the next time we can see you compete or something like that?
So I get home and then I have a tournament in like 10 days. So I gotta get home, start grinding, practicing, and then I'm off again.
Which tournament specifically?
It used to be called SmashCon, but Nintendo said you can't call it that.
Got it.
So now it's Supernova or something dumb. I don't know.
I tell you something. My producers didn't know how much discussion around developers is going to be happening, so they're both a little bit on edge at the minute. What I would like to know is just one last thing. Specifically, when I look ahead to Street Fighter and to Tekken, as somebody that has seen so many variations, what is something you could help teach non-fighting game communities about the games or to be aware of? The reason I ask. This week, we've obviously got Overwatch 2, PUBG Mobile, and then Mobile Legends Bang Bang. These are communities our stream is targeting. All three of them, I've got experts from each game. So I just want to be able to teach them something about the FGC, something about fighting games that might keep them enticed or excited.
Well, I think the great thing about fighting games that makes them so like easy to digest is you know when someone's getting beat up. So it's just like, this guy's getting beat up, he's losing. So I think that's very like appealing. And I think if you just watch, and all the characters are so unique, so eventually you just gravitate towards the character. And then I think it's like very easy to like.
To pick it up from there.
It's so easy. It's just somebody's getting beat up, right?
I'll tell you something. Make sure you find friends that are similar skill level to you. I really
don't play anyone better than you. It's not going to be fun.
I sincerely tried to learn to play like some of the anime fighters when Dragon Ball FighterZ came out. I sucked. I didn't have the mechanics for it. My hands didn't work. Okay, let's talk a little bit personally. What are you doing at the moment outside of competing? I know as we're preparing for this, Counter-Strike expert specifically was like, asking about Counter-Strike. Like he's insane in Counter-Strike. What else are you streaming and where can people find you?
So I stream at twitch.tv/Mang0 with a 0. I stream 8 hours a day. Pretty much just playing like Counter-Strike, Valorant. I played Overwatch, Fortnite, every like Rocket League, all the competitive games I've put a decent amount of time into. Okay. My favorites are shooters. In my heart, that's where I belong.
Interesting.
That's where my heart is.
So out of interest, so did you cheat on shooting games with Smash Melee, or have you grown out of Smash Melee? I'm being told not to go there apparently, so I apologize if I've stepped on a landmine.
No, I grew up a CS kid.
Right.
So that's my first. I think CS was the first game I played when I was like 11, where I realized that you can be really good at a video game.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, I can just be way better than you. So CS is what hooked me in, and then I got stuck on Melee.
I'll tell you something it offends me how good you are at different games because I don't have those skills. And secondly, as a long-time viewer, the fact that you come from a CS background, that explains why I was drawn to you as a fan, especially in the early years. You had a very different public persona to many of the other competitors.
I'm a shooter at heart. I'm just, you know.
It bleeds through.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Can we bring up the Overwatch gameplay that's happening right now? I'm not going to ask you about the teams. I'm not going to ask you about the players. I just want to ask, like, Overwatch 2, the 5v5, the pace of the game, how much are you enjoying playing it in comparison to, like, all the other shooters that you played?
I do like Overwatch a lot. I think it'd be a little hard to watch. But I think if you know what the characters are, you can kind of get it. I think it's way more fun to play, and, like, I love booting up Overwatch for like 2-3 hours and just.
I'm presuming you're a DPS and not a tank player.
So okay, that is a common misconception about me.
Oh yes. Okay.
I'm a support player in every game I play.
Seriously?
Okay,
actually, to be fair, that does explain the Jigglypuff. Like,
yeah,
right
I'm a
at the
support
beginning
guy.
of the career.
Deep in my heart, you put me in the back line. Like,
okay, so who would be your main if you were to be forced to be booted up right now? Oh, it's fine. You don't have to. We'll bail out that one.
I'll think about that one. I'll think about it.
Okay, Mang0, I just got one last thing. We'll get Overwatch off the screens. I'd love for you to just give a shout out to any fans watching, anyone supporting Cloud9, and anyone that may have a similar affinity to Melee as I do. So, message to the fans.
All my fans, I hate it because I tell them I love them all the time. I do it. My fans have always been there for me because I've been playing for 20 years, and like you said, I have fans who've been watching me since like 2010, 2008.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what then. Since we're not going to speak to fans, what message do you have to the Cloud9 co-owners, supporters, and club championship about how well your other teams will do at the event?
I'm rooting for us. Like, we finally got points on the board like yesterday. I was pretty happy because, like, to me, like, I usually, whenever C9's playing, I get way more excited because, like, I have a like sports tie where I'm like, let's go, like we gotta win. So it's been nice. I love Cloud9. Again, I've been with them for 10 years, so I'm like, I'm a veteran in like everything. You know? So it's like, they're like my other family. You know, I love C9. They've always taken care of me.
I cannot see you wearing a different jersey. Personally, you'll forever be C9 in my heart. Also, I hold you personally responsible for every Jigglypuff before 2010. I'm very glad you moved away from it because I hated Jigglypuff. Mang0, this was very special for me. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah.
Just before we get rid of Mang0, we're going to jump to PUBG Mobile World Cup. We're going to listen into the casters for map number 5.
In a bit of a split, but they're taking a ton of damage on contact. The vehicle goes bye-bye, and so do two of them.